Back on Once Upon a Time, this is episode 4 of season 5. Very excited to see what's going to happen next as we continue on. Quite a few different interesting things happening so far this season, obviously with Emma as the Dark One, the missing kind of 6 weeks of memories people had in Camelot. Arthur is apparently a bit dodgy, so we'll see how that kind of all plays out. And Mr. Gold has kind of woken up from his coma, and Emma has some plans for him because he's kind of like a blank slate for her, which is a pretty cool idea, and I'm excited to see more of that in particular. So yeah, very interesting season so far. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen next. So let's dive into the next one. This Arthur and Guinevere.
All you have to do now is follow your heart.
Unless your heart is full of evil.
For years I've hunted its missing piece. Something known as the Dagger of the Dark One.
What?
I've heard tales of it.
Before it's too late. Oh, my head.
Oh,
Calm down.
that could have been quite something.
Someone's here.
Hook just can't get away from the crocodile.
She needs rest. Somewhere quiet and away from prying eyes.
I know the perfect place. Perhaps me and the boy should take her there.
Yeah, Hook and Henry scenes.
Let's sail away.
Well, where is he now?
Hiding? It's not like he's welcome in Camelot.
Because he went after Arthur's wife, and he's back. Why? Why is he back?
He's finally got like
all the answers.
a place of importance for himself again as a knight. So he wants to stay on Arthur's
would you mind
side.
just giving us a minute? Or is it that you need to feel like a hero again?
Maybe the round table's exactly where it should be.
Oh, this was me writing essays at uni the night before they were due.
Can you believe how close we are to the other half? This time I'm
He's literally that meme of that guy with all like the conspiracies on his wall. Yeah, here we go.
I'm sure he'll be on shortly.
I figured that's what we were seeing.
I know he didn't plan any of this.
You
The fact
did.
that you won't deny it tells me all.
What a shock.
You made it.
Look, I completed the translation. The dagger is only a day's ride from here. By this time tomorrow, I will hold it in my hand. I need my best knight to stay here and protect the queen. After all, she is the most precious thing I
I'll
have.
certainly do that.
We're gonna restore Excalibur tonight.
This is the episode when no one listens to their wife.
Lancelot. He's back.
Oh shit.
So I'm going to finish this damned quest and get back the men I love. And you can.
You finish one quest, they give you another 5.
Son.
Pretty simple code. Ugh. Oh. Nice.
Hansel, I thought you were dead. I was sure.
Why, you still stood up. Oh, heck.
It'll never happen again.
Mm-hmm.
No. Never.
Never.
We need to remember. So tell me how to find him. So I can make him pay for what he did.
From what I heard, you both had some culpability in that.
So you heard the old story. Believe me, the legend is only the beginning.
Oh. It's invisible.
Where is it?
Yeah, I thought she'd nick it.
There's this girl. Is there indeed?
Hope you're ready to get your heart racing.
Come on.
Think how old he is.
He has a crush, and he straight up lied to my face, and I'm the dark one.
You're his mother.
Which is scarier.
To him, it's up for debate. I've spent many years battling demons in my head. I was able to purge them on the prow of the Jolly Roger.
And they had the same face.
Riding the oceans.
There it is. Excalibur will finally be complete.
It's just surrounded by evil black vines. I'm sure that's fine. Well.
What's the next best thing to completing a magical sword?
Making it appear like it's been completed. With this. Enchanted sand. From the mystical isle of Avalon.
I thought he was just going to make a fake dagger, because
Anything.
he has a tendency to do that.
The pain you should worry about isn't the kind inflicted by a broken sword, but the kind that comes from a broken heart.
He needs to change his password every few years. It's just safer. He needs to add some numbers in there, lowercase letters, uppercase letters.
I've been here before.
Oh.
Had a vision.
Oh yeah.
Thought I had.
Don't you trust me?
I don't know who to trust.
Apparently not.
Oh dear.
That's a decision she's going to regret.
Oh no.
I wouldn't. You're going to hand over that dagger.
Stab him with it.
Give me the dagger!
My goodness.
Fool that I'm meant to be king of this godforsaken place.
It's not here! Why are you hiding the dagger from me?
Calm down.
Enchanted sand that can make something broken appear whole again.
That's why you came back.
You can make me whole again.
Yes, I wanted you back. You have to make a choice. Stop trying to mend that sword, or your marriage and your kingdom will be broken forever.
Pour that on your marriage.
Then I'll follow my heart to where it belongs.
We've learned too long.
I spent 5 minutes with him, and now we're in love.
That's not what you think.
With this magic, I can keep you by my side to do it.
Wow.
Better, I think.
It's interesting that she was broken then, since it worked on her.
Do you remember the first time I gave one to you?
Of course.
Yeah, when you weren't a little worm.
You told me about it.
Ah, so that's how he does it. Well, that's just lazy, isn't it, Arthur? Oh, how much was in his little hand? I'm in for a shock when all the electricity and water bills come in.
I can become what no one thought I could. The greatest king in all the realms.
He's monologuing. Someone stop him.
You knew he would follow us.
She wasn't the only one.
Aha!
Well, I was wondering when you were going to show up.
You broke the sacred trust of the round table.
You tried to trick me.
No.
Had you tied on a comfy chair.
He listened to his wife and you didn't.
Every choice I've made.
I knocked my book over. In my
I'm trying to
excitement.
destroy the darkness.
The fighting wasn't going to solve any problems.
Ah,
So we put
nice.
aside
That's
our
great.
differences and thought of Emma's well-being first.
I don't know what the plan is here, but we'll see. Don't know how riding a horse will solve his problems.
Camelot's true leader is its queen, Guinevere.
She's still been tricked though, right?
Is it me or is he unusually quiet?
Take these straight into the dungeon where he belongs.
Well, this has gone well. Yeah, I get it. It's sad. I have a feeling I'm gonna do that. Surely you'd have run out by now. Create a whole bloody kingdom. Well.
That's the cell the rats take a fancy to.
Oh, is that Merida? Yeah.
I'm Merida.
Lancelot.
We can trust Arthur.
And Lancelot?
Locked safely in the dungeon. He was lying. Our best move now is to give Arthur the real dagger.
I just spent all day doing it, like we agreed upon.
Plans change.
Here's an interesting
Making
parallel
this hammer
to
whole is our
the
best
Shattered
chance
Sight
to
spell
help
that
Emma.
influenced them last season. That turned them against each other. Now this makes them compliant.
What do you say?
Trees of green.
Very good.
What don't you say?
We'll still see.
You can't just stare at a flower forever, can you?
I trusted me with your burden.
happily ever after. Nothing goes wrong.
I'm just the thing to sharpen you on. Call it my secret weapon.
Which is...
Should have trusted my gut when I first met you. You are a witch. I need you to make him just like you.
Oh, okay.
I need you to make him brave.
Ha! Do you get it? I get it. Okay, another really great episode. I really, really enjoyed that one a lot. Obviously a big focus on the Arthur, Gwen, Lancelot kind of triangle. And a few answers as to what went on there, and the fact that, you know, why is Guinevere so much on Arthur's side? You know, he's actually used that sand on her, which was quite an interesting little twist I wasn't expecting. You know, I thought for some reason she was just on side, and obviously there's been a lot of manipulation there, so Arthur is like the true bad guy in this, and a little worming his way out of all these situations, but, you know, inevitably I think it'll all come crashing down for him. Very interesting to have Arthur have like a villainous role like this. I think maybe freeing Merlin from the tree could be a big key to solving all of this. I assume we'll be seeing him in person at some point. Otherwise, why introduce the idea of him being trapped in the tree if you're not going to let him out? So yeah, it was interesting to get a bit of that and the classic kind of love triangle between the three of them. I can't say I'm like super invested in the love triangle side of things. And, you know, Lancelot's pain at the end when he was being taken away, and, you know, thinks Guinevere is just completely on Arthur's side, just because I think the development of Gwen and Lancelot's connection, you know, they kind of rushed it in this episode. So I just didn't have time to get that invested in it, because it happened just one scene. They were like, oh yeah, let's go on a quest, and then the next scene they're in love. So, you know, it is what it is. Everyone kind of knows that story anyway, or at least that kind of part of it with Lancelot and everything. So I guess you don't need too much depth to it. But yeah, that was, you know, they did a decent job with it, and all the pieces are in place. We'll kind of see where that kind of goes. But in terms of like the love triangle side of it, I think maybe they could have done a bit more with it, or had a couple of episodes worth of flashbacks building up to that moment instead of like trying to shove it all in one episode. But again, they did a lot of this episode was kind of like the flashbacks, be it in Camelot, or like there were like flashbacks in flashbacks even to you know, when they were all younger, and when Arthur was still kind of obsessed with finding everything, and Gwen was like drifting away from him, and all that sort of thing with that. And we only really got some present day scenes right at the end, which was an interesting approach. So present day stuff isn't that far advanced, but we do have a revelation now of what Emma plans to do. But that was also basically how we left it in the last episode, so it would have been nice to get a bit more present day stuff, but obviously there's so much packed into this episode, something kind of had to suffer, I guess. So maybe that could have been a pacing thing they could have sorted out if they planned the season differently, I'm not sure. Or even just do like a smash the mirror kind of thing. I think that would have worked for this, because there's so much going on. Maybe like an extended episode would have really helped. Because, you know, the last episode was like, Emma's like, oh, I have a plan for you, Mr. Gold. And then this episode was like, I have a plan for Mr. Gold. This is the plan. But we haven't really learned anything necessarily new. Because we knew, you know, we still know what she wants. She's just going to use murder to do it. So it's not like that much advancement there. But it is what it is, you know. I don't mind that it kind of had a lot of flashbacks as the main focus, really, and going back and forth between them. Sometimes I think they should have just stayed in the past for a bit longer. Like the 5 years ago kind of bits. I feel like they could have been a bit longer, because they chopped back and forth a bit too much, I think. It was a bit unnecessarily choppy in that respect, because sometimes they had like one scene that was like 2 minutes long, then they went back again, then they went forward again 2 minutes later. Maybe they could have edited that around, but I don't think it was confusing, so I don't really mind that they did it that way. So yeah, everything with the backstory there was quite interesting to see how Arthur kind of drifted further and further from Guinevere, kind of became more obsessed with like this mission, and that's kind of turned him into a little weasel. To see him, that kind of drive him mad. And it's interesting, you know, he's seeking after this dagger that kind of represents darkness, and, you know, everything with the Dark One surrounding that dagger and everything. So he's still being influenced and destroyed by that darkness, even if he's not the Dark One, which I think is a really interesting thing compared to what's going on with Emma right now, and she's trying to fight that off. And we're still setting up for a major fall with that as well, because we have like some nice wholesome scenes with Emma and Hook, you know, kissing in front of, like, in all the flowers at the end there, but we know it's all going to go horribly wrong. And I'm looking forward to that moment to see exactly what it is that tips Emma over the edge, and why she's like, it's all your fault, you all failed me, so I'm going to make you all pay. I wonder exactly how that kind of plays out. Maybe they all kind of get that sand thrown on them, and then it's too late to save her by the time they realise what's happened, or they break that spell or whatever. Emma's become the Dark One properly, I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm looking forward to finding that out. But yeah, the idea of like having some faith in the person that you're with, I really enjoyed that theme throughout the episode. Because Gwen was kind of losing that in the flashbacks with Arthur and kind of finding it in Lancelot. So there's a bit of that going on. And then, you know, David and Mary Margaret could put faith in each other to enact out their plan, which was probably my favourite part of the episode, the fact that they carried that off and pulled it off so well. Obviously, it's kind of ruined slightly, that whole plot line, because they've just instantly, Arthur got the upper hand again straight away. But, you know, it is what it is. It's a guessing game. You know, there are always going to be ups and downs. So slightly undermined in that sense, but I don't really mind that. Because Arthur is one of those people you can't wait to see him get punched in the face, because I need that moment to happen, and I'm actively looking forward to Arthur kind of failing and somehow being stopped. Whereas, you know, sometimes it'd be, I'm just so frustrated, just move on with this story already. But I'm actually kind of enjoying that right now. It depends, you know, how long they can carry that on for, I'm not sure. But I do like that twist with Mary Margaret and David actually having that faith and working out, okay, we need to put Emma first here, let's not argue, let's think of a plan. And that kind of got them to expose Arthur, even if it did get undermined. I love that, you know, it's again showing how well those two are, and, you know, how well they work together, how good they are together. So everything with that was really cool. I liked that a lot. And we also had Hook asking Emma to have, you know, some faith in him to kind of try and get the darkness away, and the parallels with those two, haunted with like visions of Rumpel / the crocodile. You know, that figure has haunted both of those characters at some point now. So I kind of like that thing linking them yet again, another thing they have in common. And Hook, because he's obviously come so far from the man he was when he was haunted by the crocodile. It's nice that he can be the one to try and save Emma. I mean, going for a little horse ride and then standing in some flowers, I guess it did the job. I didn't really buy into that. But obviously we know it's only going to be a temporary solution. She can't just, you know, whenever things are tough, let's just go for a horse ride, you know. So that, I was like, sure, okay, fine. Maybe a bit too sentimental and romanticised, but it is what it is. And it was good to see those two get a moment of respite, I guess, because we know how bad things are with them in present day after that disastrous dinner date, I think in the last episode. So I think, you know, it's a cool contrast to how things are now. And, you know, sometimes Once Upon a Time really does do it well when obviously we have like a lot of flashbacks and stuff, so we know how things may turn out and end up. But they can still add some moments of tension even in the flashbacks. You're not quite sure how things are going to play out and what's going to happen. Otherwise, you know, that, well, we know that so-and-so is dead or so-and-so's alive in the future, so this flashback's a bit pointless. But they're not doing that with this. I think they very cleverly structured it so that you don't know all the ins and outs. You know, you don't know what the moment is going to be when Emma accepts and embraces the darkness fully. We don't know when that's coming yet. We know it's going to happen because of the present day stuff, but we still don't know all the little details about it. So I think in terms of structuring the flashbacks with the missing 6 weeks, that's done very well. A lot of alterations and stuff. Now that David and Mary Margaret are kind of under the spell with the sand, which I think should have run out, let's be honest, when they built a whole bloody kingdom with it. Like he like blew a bit and it was like, whoa, it's everywhere. I'm like, man, how much is in that thing? But again, that's kind of a little nitpick really. So yeah, I do like, I mentioned it in the reaction, I don't know if it will make it into the final cut or anything, I may have to cut it for time, but I do like how Mary Margaret and David being influenced by that sand kind of compares to the spell of shattered sight between them last season. So it kind of made them hate and, you know, turn against everyone. Whereas this spell kind of made them compliant with someone, which I thought was an interesting kind of contrast in how those things played out. So I enjoyed that aspect of it as well, and I'm excited to see how that's going to go, and will Regina see through that at any point, because, you know, it's kind of frustrating that Arthur immediately got found out and he's like, haha, because I'm a little worm, a little weasel, I can easily fix this. But I feel like he just has everyone under his control because of that blimmin' sand. Like, we need to undo that. But the idea of like someone being broken, this sand can like heal them, and it's a broken heart versus a broken kingdom, a broken sword, all these different kind of things being shattered sight, ha ha ha. Even like it working on Gwen stuff, because she was kind of, you know, broken herself, because I think she was kind of being torn between, you know, these two guys, and the sand had fixed her. I thought that was very interesting that, you know, it worked on her as well. So yeah, it is a nice little twist that we're just seeing Arthur become more and more a bit like sadistic and evilly and gleeful in what he's doing, and that Gwen actually isn't necessarily in on it, she's just kind of been influenced, which I thought was a cool little twist. So I liked that a lot. And we've got a bit with Henry and Violet. Got a bit of a crush. My son, proud of him. And I like that, you know, we've got a bit of interaction with him and Hook and Emma. I like their kind of amusement / horror. He kind of has a bit of a thing going on with the girl. That was quite a funny little thing. And the idea that, you know, I'm his mother and I'm the Dark One, which one's scarier to him? And he's like, I don't know. That was quite funny. So everything with that was cool. And yeah, seeing Lancelot kind of come back. I hope we get proper explanations of how he didn't die at Cora's hands before, how he tricked her. They did mention like, oh, you know, he tricked Cora. Like, okay, how? But again, there's a lot going on in this episode, and we probably didn't need to flash back to that, because they were already very much flashback central this episode. But I'm sure we'll get explanation at some point. But yeah, it's cool to see him come along and unknowingly play a part in Mary Margaret and David's game, but he's still going to be the key, I think, to overthrowing Arthur. I mean, if they were smart, they'd use the dust on Lancelot. That makes no sense that they didn't do that, because then all the problems are solved. Why are they not leaving him like that? Why are they just locking him away when he could easily just break out and do something? And Merida, like, you literally have the perfect answer. Like, it's seemingly unending, because you can just use it on anyone. Why don't you use it on them as well? Like, then you'd be absolutely fine, but okay. Or even use it on Emma. And be like, oh, now you can do this for me, you can do this for me. You know, if he has the dagger and stuff. I don't know. That's probably because a plot needs to happen. That's why they didn't use it on Lancelot and Merida and stuff. But that's an interesting pairing, those two characters. I wasn't expecting to see Merida again, so bringing her back into the story was interesting. And then to see that she's also in present day, and she's going to teach Mr. Gold to be brave. I see what you did there once upon a time. That's going to be a fascinating pairing. I feel like those two could really butt heads. But again, I don't know what Gold is like now that he's not the Dark One, so he might not be as sassy or mean and cruel anymore. So we'll have to learn a bit more about that, because he's a blank slate, obviously. So he shouldn't really be like any version of him we've seen before, really, because he doesn't have anything influencing how he should behave, which again is an interesting thing for Robert Carlyle to probably play with. So we'll see where they go with that. It'd be funny because he's a blank slate. He just like steals Merida's accent and just starts talking like that. That is really thick Scottish accent. That'd be hilarious, but I don't think that's going to happen somehow. But I think that's an interesting idea that Merida's now under Emma's control, and how she's going to craft him. That should be quite something. So we'll see what happens with that. But Merida's back in the story, so I'm excited for that. And the pairing of her and Lancelot in the past, how that's going to play out, should be quite cool to watch as well. Certainly a meeting of minds, and I like that she didn't really waste any time. I'm Merida, you're clearly an enemy of Arthur's, so you're a friend of mine, let's do something about this. You know, she's very kind of headstrong. She's like, okay, let's get this done. And I think Lancelot kind of has that attitude as well. So hopefully they'll come up with a cool plan together that won't get immediately undermined like Mary Margaret and David's did. But still, it's only episode 4, so who the hell knows what's going to happen? There's going to be loads of twists and turns to come yet. So all I know is ultimately Emma's going to go fully dark, and I assume Arthur's not going to have the upper hand forever. But how exactly that all plays out, we don't know yet. So again, well-structured flashbacks in that sense. But yeah, overall, just another really, really great episode. I like this one a lot. since I'm a big fan of the Arthurian legends and stuff like that anyway, I think it's cool making Arthur the way they've done. I think it's a bit different. But then I don't think they went quite enough with the whole Gwen, Lancelot, Arthur love triangle. I feel like that was very much undercooked in a way. But, you know, it still did the job. And I like the idea of, you know, Arthur not listening to his partner. We had David actually did, and they worked together like that. That's a big contrast there. That's really cool. And, you know, the symbolism of the flowers between those two relationships as well. And obviously I think that was the same flower that was surrounding Emma and Hook at the end there. So, you know, some potential doomed lovers there with all those links. I'm not sure. I feel like there's a lot of foreshadowing and connections between characters and stories that Once Upon a Time always does quite well. So I'm excited for that, to see where we'll go next. And I think Lancelot and Merida's pairing is going to be one to watch. Hopefully Regina's still going to be one to watch as well, and Robin, because they haven't been influenced yet. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. But overall, another fantastic episode. Very excited to see what is going to happen next with this story arc. And yeah, I'll be carrying on with that very, very soon. But yeah, that's going to be everything for now. And until my next reaction, thanks for watching.